Hey there, and welcome to this live training, which is all about the 5 foods that are making you fat, but you think are healthy. Now, straight away, you said, Simon, but you said several occasions there are no good and bad foods, and certain foods don't make you fat. So let's address that comment straight away. So yes, there are no good or bad foods, and no one specific food can make you fat. It's all about how that sits in the context of your diet, and if that puts you in a calorie deficit or takes you out of a deficit, puts you at maintenance or surplus or whatever it may be. So I kind of played the old clickbait headline here to draw you in, but I'm drawing you in for a reason. And the reason why I'm drawing you in is not to tell you that this food is bad, this food is good, etc., etc. You can't have this, or you can't have that. What I'm drawing you in with my little clickbait headline is just to make you aware that some of the foods that you think are healthy, you can have in whatever sort of quantities you want, or you kind of just not really realizing how many calories they do actually pack. These can be some of the foods that actually unknowingly take you off track. So take you into a calorie surplus, take you out of your deficit, and could be the reason why if you're having problems losing weight, things are stuttering and stalling and things like that, then these foods could be one of the reasons why. So it might be something that you want to look at, you want to review your diet and say, yeah, I can incorporate these foods into my diet, no problem at all, as long as I'm matching calories. But if I'm off track, or I'm not really sure why I'm off track, maybe it's one of these types of foods that I've not really considered, and it's actually taking me off plan. So that's the first point. I'm not here to tell you that the foods are good and bad. So I'm not backtracking. I'm not becoming a guru just to sell you some shit. That's for sure. Now, let's start with our little 5 food list, and we're going to go with dried fruit. So fruit is obviously considered to be quite healthy. It's full of nutrients and all of that good stuff, which is absolutely true. When you come to have a dried fruit version, it's no less nutritious than a normal fruit version, but the calorie content tends to increase over, if you compare, say, 100 grams of regular fruit, fresh fruit, with 100 grams of dried fruit, because of the water's been drained out of it to make it that dry variety, when you actually end up having more of it, and therefore the calorie content of it increases significantly. So here's a few examples for you. So if you get like some dried mixed fruit, so just all different sorts of fruit, 100 grams of that can pack around about anywhere between 350 calories or more, depending on the mix of what's in that dried fruit. So 100 grams of dried fruit is going to pack 350 calories. Now, if you measure that to 100 grams of apple, for example, just fresh apple on its own, nothing else, 52 calories. So there's a huge significant difference, almost 7 times the difference between the two. And that's where, again, like I said, if you want dried fruit in your diet, cool, go for it. But recognize there is a calorie exchange to be had here. And if you're someone who is dieting on relatively low calories, and maybe you're suffering with a little bit of hunger multiple times throughout the day, opting for dried fruit over fresh fruit might not be the best option. It might serve you better to go down a fresh fruit option, so you can have the same amount of like volume, say around 100 grams of apple. It'll probably fill you up more. It'd be less calories. You could have more of it. You could have 2 apples and still be nowhere near 359 calories. So again, it's about not necessarily these foods being bad or this food being good, or you can't have this and you can have that. It's about understanding that there's a calorie exchange to be had, and to diet successfully, sustainably, and without wanting to kill someone because you're so hungry. Sometimes you have to look at food choices and making logical changes. So that's what we're going through here. If you then pick another example, so if you pick a banana, again, great, throw it in a post-workout protein shake for a bit of added extra carbs if you want. That's certainly what I do. 100 grams of banana is going to net you 89 calories. So roughly speaking, 90 calories there. If you had like banana chips, that's going to be 519 calories for 100 grams of that. And again, some people will think, well, that's just banana. That's cool. I can have that. Yum, 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 which you can. if you're managing those calories. And if you understand that there is a higher calories to be had from that dried fruit version. So just understand that just because it's fruit doesn't necessarily mean it remains lower calorie. It's the way that that food goes through that process. If you're having the same quantity, the same weight of that food, it's going to pack more calories than the fresh fruit version. So just have that in your mind when you're making food decisions. That's the first thing. So the second food that we're going to come on to is granola. Now, granola is kind of this sort of, I think it's considered to be a bit of a healthy thing because it's kind of, you get granola bars and you get granola cereal, and a lot of the packaging is kind of that sort of healthy looking packaging, healthy titles, things like that. And it, you know, it looks like bird seed. Sometimes it tastes like bird seed. So therefore you think, well, it must be healthy. If it looks like a fucking bird would eat it, then yeah, it must be brilliant. Now, again, that's going to have in it, it's going to have in some oats, probably some honey, some sugar, nuts, fruit, all these different sorts of things, which again, I'm going to keep repeating this, not necessarily good, not necessarily bad, but it's probably going to be slightly more higher calorie than some other options. So when you're going through the supermarket or you're shopping online or you're out and about and you think, oh, cool, I'll go for the fucking granola. That's the safer option. Especially like when you're in a coffee shop or something like that. Maybe you're walking into town, maybe you're going to Costa Coffee, Starbucks, or maybe you're going to some sort of artisan coffee shop where it's a bit swanky. They're doing kind of like healthy foods, healthy options. You see cake. You see cake on the side. Cake is there, you know, maybe some red velvet cake or maybe some coffee and walnut. That would be my favorite. That's just lying there in the counter, calling to you. It's calling to you. It's like 300-400 calories a slice. But then you think, no, I'll be good. I'll have the granola. I'll have the granola slice. Now, usually that's probably not any different in terms of the calorie content of that particular food. Now, some people might argue, well, okay, the nuts have got some healthy fats in it and the oats have got some healthy fats in it and things like that. But if you're overall not sticking to your calorie deficit, then that kind of doesn't matter. You need to get the calories in check first. So a lot of people will pick that granola option a bit like they would maybe go to McDonald's and pick the salad versus the burger, but actually the salad can be just as high calorie as that burger. So again, it's about understanding that just because it seems healthy, quote unquote, doesn't necessarily mean it's low calorie. And these types of foods and these types of choices that you make can potentially drastically affect whether you stay on plan or not. So just have that in your mind, bear in mind. Food number 3 we're going to go with is the good old avocado. Now, everyone loves an avocado because everyone likes avocado brunch, don't they? You know, you get your sourdough toast that's like a fucking rock that you can't cut, but it's swanky and it's posh and it's hipsterish, so it's cool. Then you get your smashed avocado plonked all over it. You get your poached eggs, just the right level of runniness. So when you poke your knife through it, you can take that quick Instagram of the yolk porn and then post that for everyone to see. That's what everyone does over a weekend, isn't it? You know, it's standard fare. I do it. Everybody does it. Everybody loves a little bit of yolk porn and avocado. But the avocado itself, again, healthy fats, all that good shit. I'm not going to repeat myself on the fact no good foods, no bad foods, all that sort of stuff. But an avocado is pretty calorie dense. If you have an entire caloriado, what's the caloriado? An avocado, if you have an entire avocado, you're looking at around about 320 something calories for that entire avocado. Again, not necessarily bad, but that's quite a lot of calories for one food that's potentially not going to fill you up and could potentially take you outside of your calorie target for the day. And also, when you're buying avocados, they vary in size quite significantly. So even though they say like medium avocado or large avocado, they can vary in size. If you buy 2 medium avocados, they can vary in size quite drastically. And again, that can quite easily take you on or off track in terms of your plan, because if you have 100 grams more of avocado than you expected, that's quite a lot of calories. So these are one foods where absolutely incorporate it into your diet. You've got healthy fats in there. It's going to be great for you from a nutrition perspective, but probably one of the foods that you want to weigh. You're going to want to weigh it so that you are sure that you've got it under control. Or if you're eating out, you're having other ways to manage your caloric intake so that if you do have a slightly more calorie dense meal that contains avocado, then that doesn't actually make too much difference because you've managed it elsewhere. Now, we're up to food number 4, I think, in our list. And let's scroll back to when we're out and about, maybe at the coffee shop. We've picked our granola and stuff like that. Maybe usually you pick some sort of wild coffee, like some sort of latte, caramel, macchiato with whipped cream and all that sort of stuff. That's like 700 and something calories, something ridiculous. So you thought, well, actually, I'm going to go for something slightly healthier. I'm going to go for the fruit cooler. I'm going to go for the fruit juice. Fruit juice, got a load of fruit in it. It's going to be awesome. It's going to, give me my 5 a day or whatever it's going to be. So I'm going to take the fruit juice option, the fruit cooler option. If you were at Costa and doing that, and you went for the Massimo, which I think is the large berry cooler, that's going to net you 312 calories. 312 calories. So let's say you've had a cooler and a piece of granola. You're probably looking at the thick end of 600 to 700 calories, and that's a fucking huge meal. But actually, all you've had is a tiny square of granola and a fruit cooler. So these are the things where you can absolutely have those things if you want them. But are they the best choice for someone who's losing weight, maybe struggling with hunger, and needs to maybe make better food choices that help them stick to a calorie deficit, but also can still have just as much nutrition in it? You can make better choices if you are struggling with hunger, if you are struggling to hit that calorie deficit. So fruit juices in general, I would always say, first and foremost, probably go for the fresh fruit, whole food option rather than the fruit juice option. You're going to get maybe more fiber from a whole food option. It's going to fill you up more. It's probably going to be less calorie dense, and therefore you can have more of it, helping you to have maybe more snacks throughout the day, which helps you to stop feeling hungry throughout the day. It's got more upside to having the full fruit version than there is to having the fruit juice option. But hey, if you want to go for fruit juices and it helps you get nutrition and you can stick to your calorie deficit, then fuck it, just go for it. But I'm just warning you. Number 5 on our list is nuts. Now, I don't mean man nuts. I mean other nuts. Nuts you can eat. Nuts and nut butter are also quite high in calorie. Yes, they've got their healthy fats, so don't get on my case about that. Don't be emailing me, Simon, it's got healthy fats in it, you can't say it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I know it's got healthy fats in it. All I'm saying is that it's quite easy to overeat and go way over what you think you're eating with these types of foods. So for example, 100 grams of nuts. Now, probably you're not going to have 100 grams of nuts in one portion, but that's, to put it in context, 644 calories, so 645 calories, something like that, for 100 grams of mixed nuts. Now, most people will have around about, or think they will have around about 30 grams. So 30% of that is what people think that they were having. But if you're not measuring this by weighing stuff, you're maybe doing it by eye, it is incredibly easy to have double that or more. Now, if you had 50 grams, you're talking at 322 calories straight away. Again, they're not necessarily good or bad calories in that context, but if you think you're having half of that amount, roughly speaking, but you're actually having double, then that's a very, very easy way for you to go off track. Likewise with nut butter, a small 15-gram serving of something like a almond butter, something like that, is probably going to pack around about 100 calories. And again, it's easy to overeat because who measures out nut butter by the gram? It's usually by teaspoonful or tablespoonful, and whether it's heat or whether it's flat, again, that's open to interpretation. Easy for you to overeat if you're judging things by eye. So here you've got to just understand that there are certain foods that are healthy in terms of they have nutrition in them, which is beneficial for you. You should absolutely be getting that type of nutrition into your diet. But it's very easy to overeat on them if you're not kind of controlling things and you're not aware, because they are hugely calorie dense. So I want you to think about these next 4 things when you're choosing different food options. So number one is absolutely have these foods in your diet if you are able to stay in a calorie deficit. If you have these foods in your diet plan and you have 0 problems with hunger, you have 0 problems with staying in a calorie deficit when you're eating these types of food, go for it. Fill your boots, have as much nuts, avocado, fruit juice, granola, and dry fruit as you fucking well want. It's awesome. So go for it. But if you are struggling with hunger, and this is number 2, make logical food swaps for equally nutritious but less calorie dense options. So for example, the easy ones are the dry fruit, go for the fresh fruit. Fruit juice, go for the fresh fruit. They're easy food swaps for you to make. You're going to get a similar level of nutrition, if not more, from the fresh fruit option. It's going to be lower calories, going to fill you up, all of that good stuff. When you're having the avocado, the nuts and things like that, just make sure that you're maybe weighing it or judging it in a better way so that you can keep on track and not necessarily drift off plan and go slightly off track where you think you're actually doing okay. Then when you're eating out, this is number 3, when you're eating out, just beware of health halos. Now you might say, what the fuck's a health halo, Simon? Well, this is where a food is marketed to you by some sort of clever old soul in some sort of marketing company, in a food company. And they kind of put these healthy words around something like it's gluten-free, or it's low fat, or it's this, that, and the other, or you've got brand names like Nature Valley. And it kind of makes you think that this must be healthy. But beware that something that says all of those things, it may be low in fat, it may be low in sugar, it may say Nature's Valley, or it may be gluten-free, but it still could pack quite a lot of calories. It doesn't necessarily mean that just because it says those things, it's low calorie. Just be aware of that, be conscious of that when you're eating out. Now, to help clients with this, I do have some guides that when they're eating out, there's some guides that they can have that enable them to, for a number of popular restaurants like Costa, like Harvester, Leon, all of these different places where you can see quite clearly color-coded which are the high calorie, medium calorie, and low calorie options, so that before you go into there, you're kind of going in prepared. And that's the thing that you want to do, is absolutely, if you want these things, go in there and have them, but be prepared to know kind of what it is that you're actually consuming, what is you're eating. You're going in there fully eyes wide open, knowing what choices you're making and for the right reasons. And then number 5, there is no good or bad foods. Let's come back to that principle right from the beginning. No one single food is making you fat. It's all about the context of your entire diet, in terms of how many calories you're consuming overall from food and from drink. That's what's potentially making you fat, is that not having that overall control of your caloric intake. However, if you're struggling with hunger, you're struggling to stick to a calorie deficit, foods like the 5 that I've just mentioned can be easy ones to focus in on to see if, am I overeating on these types of foods? Are these types of foods not filling me up and therefore making me go and eat more of some other stuff that's making me drift into a calorie surplus and away from a calorie deficit? So think about what food swaps you can make, what food selections you can make that really do help yourself when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to sticking to your diet and plowing forward and making progress continually. So I hope you found this useful. I hope my little clickbait headline didn't make you shit yourself and think I was going into sort of guru territory. Hopefully you got some good information out of this one. Hopefully now you go away and think about your own diet plans, think about your own meal plans and how you're actually constructing your diets in a clever and interesting, nutritious, but also helping yourself to stick to that calorie deficit. Hopefully you're doing that. And if you do want to maybe come and talk to me about booking in for a transformation calls where we can talk about online coaching. So if you want me to sort of take the reins of nutrition for you, help you get from the place where you are right now to a leaner, healthier version of yourself, and teach you how to do all of this stuff step by step all along the way, then feel free to book in for a free transformation call with me. I'll put the link in the comment section in the show notes so that you can just head over to the online coaching page, have a look at what I do in terms of Iron Paradise Fitness, and then book in for a call to come and talk to me. We can talk about where you are right now, where it is you want to get to, and really how I can help you get from A to B. No hard sell, just me talking to you about your goals and maybe how I can help you. So if you want to do that, click the link in the show notes. And also, if you're listening on iTunes or anywhere like that, feel free to give me a review as well. 5 stars, obviously, because this is awesome. But until then, all I'll say is thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Keep living the lean life, and I'll see you for the next one.